Ladies and gentlemen, Hex community of all ages, hey, Jake Freedom here, coming to you live from YouTube for this week's Hex update Saturday for February 15th, 2014. So this week we had a patch rollout, patch 823, and it had quite a few card changing changes to it. You know, cards going from, changing their toughness, changing their text. Not so much about how the cards interact with one another as far as mechanics and whatnot, but just, balance changes. And let's go and start with a new feature that was implemented. And they say the final implementation of the chain is now live. Targeted powers that don't target don't use the chain. In other cases, powers use the chain. So basically, what they're talking about there is triggered powers that don't target don't use the chain. So if you're let's see, for example, why can I not think of one? For some reason I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, okay, for example, a triggered power that targets something would be like Saper's Charge. You deal 2 damage to somebody when you activate its ability there. That would go up on the actual chain. Something that doesn't target another card won't go on the chain. For example, like gaining 5 health from Running Deer, I think the champion is. That won't go on the chain. Things like that. So general things they've done. Cards have been renumbered to account for removed cards. Tournament lobby has fewer text strings. I'm not exactly sure what they mean by that, but fewer text strings. I don't know. Well, whatever. I hopped into the tournament lobbies, and it did look a little different. There wasn't as many ongoing tournaments or closed tournaments or whatever, so maybe that's what they're talking about. The drop forfeit button now works correctly in tournaments. Blood, Diamond, Ruby, Wild, as well as some Sapphire cards now have come into play sound effects. I haven't been able to experience this because I don't really play with the sound on at all. Holding down right click to zoom into a card will no longer loop. If you've done that before, it's zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. That no longer works. Filtering and sealed no longer will affect your card pool while you're building your decks there. So some of the gameplay changes that we have. Soul Marble has had its cost raised from 1 to 2. And I'm not going to go through all of these here again. There's a ton of them. We'll just hit 10 of them here. So then I'll go ahead and link to the patch notes. And you can go ahead and take a look at some of those for yourself there. But nothing, really game breaking, I don't think. There's one thing that, they did remove out of the game that, I wasn't a big fan of, and it's kind of surprising because I'm not a Blood fan. So I'll just give you a hint of what color it's from there. So Soul Cavalry has had its cost raised from 1 to 2. Soul Armaments has had its cost raised from 1 to 2. The Shell Safe Sure Shot has had its attack raised from 2 to 3. Mimic has had its threshold raised from 1 Sapphire to 2. And also Mimic now reads create a replica. And they have CZE put out a little bit of a statement when they're talking about replicas. And replicas are kind of neat instead of making a copy of something. Basically, a replica is going to become an artifact with no threshold requirements, and it doesn't get the state of the card what it's currently in that it's copying, and it also becomes, like I said, it also becomes an artifact and becomes a robot or something like that. That could be when we're talking about Doppelgadget. I'll link to that article there too. But it was kind of interesting. Replicas sound a little bit better, I think, than actually copying a card. Shield Trader now reads Inspire as another troop with cost equal to or greater than this troop's cost enters play under your control. It gets permanent +1, +0, +1. Not exactly sure how it read before, but sounds the same to me, but that's okay. Fate Rack now reads for 1 resource, you can do its activated ability, which is bury the top 2 cards of a target champion's deck. Mortar Strike now reads deal 3 damage to target opposing troop, bury all troops from the top 3 cards of that troop's controller's deck. It's kind of a weird weirdly worded card, but basically what you do is you deal 3 damage to the champion. They then expose 3 cards, and whatever one of those are troops, those all get buried. So if you get 3 troops, they all get buried. If they only get 1 troop, 1 gets buried. If you get none, nothing gets buried at all. Twisted Fate now reads, when you draw a card, bury the top card of each opposing champion's deck. That I don't like. Twisted Fate was really cool when it first came out for making mill decks, and now, when you draw a card, you bury the top card of each opposing, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. I thought it meant on my deck too, I'm sorry. Yeah, so let me start over there. When you draw a card, bury the top card of each opposing champion's deck. So that looks like it could be a raid card, or a 3v1, or not 3v1, a 1v3, or a PvE card of some sort there. Maybe that won't be such a PvP card anymore, since it's they put that word each opposing champion's deck in there. Chronic Madness now reads, bury the top 4 cards of target champion's deck. Escalation, shuffle this action into your deck, then permanently add 4 to the bold number in the text of each Chronic Madness you own in all zones. Not exactly, I don't remember what it read before, but I thought it was something similar to that, but maybe not. Let's see here. Crash of Beasts now reads, create 1 Rhinoceros and put it into play. Escalation, shuffle this action into your deck, then permanently add 1 to the bold number in the text for each Crash of Beasts you own in all zones. Doppelgadget now reads, at the start of your turn, you may transform this artifact into a replica of target non-shape-shifting artifact you control. It retains this power. So that's what I was talking before about replicas. And again, I'll link to that in the actual description below, so you can take a look at that replica stuff. In fact, we might even just read over it. It's not too terribly long. We'll go ahead and do that here, so you don't have to read it. Let's see here. Rocket Ranger now reads, I think they've changed this. It used to be like 2, 4, 6 artifacts, and now they've changed this a little bit here. Rocket Ranger reads, while you control 1 or more artifacts, this troop gets flight. And then while you control 3 or more, it gets +2/+2. And then while you control 4 or more, or 5 or more, then the Rocket Ranger will deal an additional 4 damage to the particular champion that you're targeting. Let's see here. What else? Air Superiority now correctly buffs troops using the Sapphire of Sky gem, which is good because I was having problems before. If you gave a card flight with that gem, it sometimes wouldn't buff them with the +1 effects there. Let's see here. Baby Yeti has had an art upgrade. Evolve is now a common. I'm not sure changing the rarity of cards, if that does anything, or if it's just, to fit into the story and the lore, the background effects there. I'm not sure why you would change the rarity, but maybe somebody can fill me in on that and how that really actually affects the game. Obviously, it probably would in like sealed play, draft modes, and Evolve will come up a little bit more often than rares or legendaries would there. So some known issues still. The tournament chess clock has been temporarily switched to 30 minutes per game to account for a known issue. So they're telling us a known issue is this, but they don't tell us what the issue is. Kind of odd. Cards that bury cards from a deck visually do not show the correct card that is being buried. This is having some problems with things where you can pull things back out of your graveyard. People are having issues with that. So hopefully they get that fixed fairly quickly. Also, troops with Invincible incorrectly ignore uniqueness. So if you have, like, let's say that Fist of Brigadon. I know he's not unique, but say he was unique. He's an invincible guy there. You could possibly have, 2 or more of him. Obviously, we know he's not unique, but I'm just giving an example there. Lixel, the Deathless Gem, is not correctly gaining Invincible when a player does not have one of each threshold upon playing her, but then later gains 1 of each threshold. So hopefully they'll get those simple things fixed there. And also we have a few new cards added this week, and those are, let's see here, let's pull them up here. Alright, let's go ahead and create a... should have had this done before, I don't know why I don't. Screen region, and we'll just go ahead and target this guy, and bam. Pull these guys up here. Alright. Okay. So, first new card we have here is Wrathwood Colossus. He is a wild 9 cost, 3 threshold troop elemental. He has Crush and Steadfast. When this troop enters play, gain 9 health. When this troop dies, put it back into your hand. So a 3 threshold 9/9 for 9 is actually pretty powerful. And also he doesn't go to your graveyard. He when he dies, he goes back into your hand. So basically you could probably keep playing him, and also he's not unique, so you could copy him. You could, if you have enough resources in hand, you could bounce him. You could play him, bounce him once, and play him again if you have that ability to do that to gain yourself 18 health. Granted, that's 1 health per resource, which isn't always the greatest thing. But if you're dying and that's something you need to do, it's certainly possible there. It's also great he has Steadfast, so he will not exhaust. So you can always block and attack with him no matter what, so that's good. I think this is a good card here. I mean, it's it's obviously powerful, and it's obviously going to cost you some, but this would definitely be one of those cards where it's not a game-winning card. It's going to be, I'm going to be winning more card. If you can get this guy out there, you either are well on your way to winning, or you're just going to win more. Simple as that there. And the next card we have is, this is the Lixil, the Deathless Gem. She's a troop necrotic rogue, unique, 3 costs, 1 sapphire threshold, 3/3. When this troop enters play, choose a standard resource from among those currently in your deck. Gain that threshold that resource provides. Now, if you have all 5 threshold or all 5 resources as the threshold here, she gains invincible. I'm not a particularly big fan of cards that use all the thresholds or all the resources to be able to activate some type of ability. That's just me. I mean, I think there was another, what was that other card? The Midnight Shepherd from Blood had that there as well. This one here had it, and I don't know if there's another one or not. I don't quite remember. But I'm not a huge fan of them, but that's just me. So I would rate this card about a 2, for me, but that's my opinion on that there. Next card we got here is Adaptable Infusion Device. This is an artifact, 1 cost artifact. When this artifact enters play, choose a standard resource from among those currently in your deck. Gain that threshold that resource provides. For 4 resources, you can sacrifice this artifact and draw a card. So basically, it's kind of a Shards of Fate on top of a secret laboratory. Not having to discard a card and whatnot. So for 5 resources, you can basically gain a threshold and a card if you wanted to. As far as how all the other card draw mechanics are in the game, I think this is right on par with it. Plus, it's an artifact, so you can use it for some other abilities. Petrobot. For every artifact or robot you have out there, 1 less to do that. You could definitely take this card here, and I don't know if you'd want to copy it with the Doppel Gadget, because it's going to destroy it after you draw a card. Entirely up to you. So, but I think this is a good card for what it costs and what it can do. It's right on par with everything else that's currently in the game. It's got some weird art too. I don't know what the crane thing has to deal with Adaptable Infusion Device. I'm not really sure how a crane can infuse, but it's some odd art, but it's really neat art. I like it. Next card we got here is Bone Warrior, Blood Troop, 2 cost, 2 threshold, 1/2. When this troop dies, transform it into a pile of bones and put it into play. Yeah. A 2 cost, 2 threshold, 1/2 that transforms into a pile of bones that can attack, and then for 4 resources, transform him back into the Bone Warrior. No, I'll pass on this card here. This card will never see play in any of my decks at all. I just don't see what the benefit would be having a 2 cost, 2 threshold, 1/2 on the board that transforms when it dies into something that can attack or block, and then have to spend 4 resources to get to get the Bone Warrior back. So I'll dismiss this card right away. It is not something that is going to be used or see play very much at all. I don't think anybody will. It's just one of those cards that they throw in that are useless, pretty much. Next card here, Servant of Shathik. Servant of Shathik. Sapphire, 1 cost, 1 threshold, 2/2 with flight. You can include this troop in your deck only if it contains at least 20 different card names among non-resource cards. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty definitive there. Okay, you have to have 20 different cards in your deck. So basically this will be an awesome draft card, sealed card, because most of the time my constructed decks don't have 20 different cards in them. Yeah, I don't think they do. No. So maybe some of them do, but not many of them have 20 different cards, I don't believe, So yeah, good draft card here, sealed play. It might work, so we'll see. For a 1 cost, 1 threshold, 2/2, that's not bad if you have 20 different cards in your hand. So we'll see how that card works out there. Next card here, Splinter of Azathoth. Azathoth. I don't know. I have a tough time pronouncing some of these words here. I'm gonna call this dude Splinter, like from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Splinter. No. Anyway, Sapphire, 4 cost, 3 threshold, 3/4. He is a troop with flight, and for 2 more resources, you can interrupt target card. If that card is interrupted this way, put it into its owner's hand. So basically what it's saying here is, okay, I'm going to interrupt something that you're going to do. If you don't cancel it out with some counter or stone skin or whatever, basically what it's saying here is you're going to get that card back. Well, I don't know why you'd want to do that. Just, it'd be better if it just went to the graveyard so they couldn't do that again. But that's me. I think that's how I'm reading it there. If I'm wrong, I apologize, and maybe somebody can fill me in there. But for 4 cost, 3 threshold to get a 3/4, that's going to be able to interrupt a card, but then give it back to the opponent, and whatever, lower the threshold. Maybe it'll see some play, but 3 threshold, 4 cost, no. I'll pass on this one as well here. Nothing really that great. I mean, yeah, it has flight, but what other cards have? I mean, I can put down a let's see here. Storm Colossus, is that right? 5, is that a 5 cost? Let's take a look at that. Let's go to the card manager. Where are we at here? Here we go. Let's go to the card manager. Pull all the cards that have flight. I think that card's not very good at all. Let's just do flight. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Gargoyle, or the Stormcaller Gargoyle, 5 cost, 2 threshold, 3/3. Cloud Titan, flight, 5 cost, 2 threshold, 4/4. We all know that the Thunderbird, couple rounds, it's good. What's this one here? This is a 7 cost, 3 threshold, flight and spell shield. Yeah, there's just a lot better. I think there's a lot better cards out there than this. 3/4 for 4 for 3 threshold. Yeah, this is far better. I believe. I mean, I don't care that you have that. You can interrupt a card and then bounce it right back into the opponent's hand. So yeah, I'll pass on that one. Not for me. Not for me at all. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next card here. The next one is Briar Legion. Basically, this here is a 3 cost. Not basically, it is. It's a wild 3 cost, 1 threshold, 0/0. But this troop gets +2/+2 for each Briar Legion that entered play under your control this game. So I'm guessing the way it's worded here is that when you play the first one, okay, that's going to be 1, so he's going to come out at a 2/2. So it's kind of like the Pack Raptors. Next one you play, it'll get another buff to another 2/2 buff there. And it's really kind of neat because you'd think, okay, well I can only have 4 of them, but the next card coming up here, I believe, works with this. So this is Briar Patch Conjure. It's a 2-cost, 2 threshold, 1/2, and then its activated ability, you exhaust this, you add a seed counter to this troop, then create a Briar Legion for each seed counter on this card and shuffle it into your deck. So basically you pull it out the first time, you add a seed counter, it adds a Briar Legion, it shuffles into your deck, you get it out again, it already has 1 seed counter, so then you exhaust it again, you add 2, so then it creates 2, shuffle it back into your deck, then 3, then 4, then 5. So this guy here works in conjunction with this dude here. So basically he could actually be free almost, other than having to, it would be a 2-cost, 2 threshold with this guy here. If we take a look at here, let's take a look and see if he's actually in here. Legion. Okay, you can put him in your deck too, so that's cool. So yeah, you could have him in your deck and you can actually create him, so that's kind of cool there. Yeah, I like these two cards together. I think you get a lot of good use out of them. As long as you can keep this guy alive, you should be doing pretty well. So even if you have 4 of these in your deck, if you're playing 4 of, maybe even 3 of, you're still gonna, if you can get them all on the board, you're still gonna have a 6/6, 3 6/6s on the board there. And plus, then if you have this guy out there, you could be doing a lot of wrecking. Wreck your opponent with this, I think. So yeah, this is high up on my scale for the likeness of these cards here. Other than that, not a whole lot else has happened. Sealed tournaments have gotten a little better. I finally I've got the furthest the other night I was playing. I went 0-2 the first round, and I'm like, okay, let's see if the second round started. The second round started, went 0-2 there, so I'm like, all right, we made it to the third round. Third round failed to start. So I think that the tournaments are getting a little better, and they will definitely keep working on that there as well. So I'm kind of excited for that. A lot of people are excited. They really, really want draft into the game, and that would be really cool if they can get that out soon, but I don't know. I didn't check to see if Corey had a blog post this week. It's been kind of a busy week for me here. I'm doing this video right now. It's 8 in the morning here because I got a lot of stuff going on today. So I didn't check that out. I'll check it out. If there is something cool there, I'll do another video about it and let you know. Other than that, that's going to be the video for this week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you do, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more HEX Update Saturdays or any other videos that I do on this channel, go ahead and click subscribe below, and we'll have another video for you soon. Oh, and I almost forgot, the card that they got rid of that I was surprised that they did from Blood was Persecute. Persecute was the card that gave a target troop -3/-3 for that turn there. Was a very good removal card. Well, they removed that card. I'm not sure why. Some people think it's, to bring balance back to the game. I'm not really sure if that's the case or not, but Persecute is now gone from the Blood deck. A lot of my... I should say a lot of them. Some of my most recent decks are now invalid because of that there. And like I said before, I'm not really a big Blood player, but, I've been kind of using those cards there for removal purposes. So, unfortunately, it's gone. Kind of sad, but, what do you do? So, almost forgot to tell you that, so there it is.